Hey, babes. Welcome to Soul Circle Tuesdays. If you are new, give some hearts. If you are always here, I love you so much. I'll miss you too, Serah Ford. Yes, so we're back this week. We are on Insta and we are on YouTube. If you're new, if you don't know me, I'm Serah Delane, the Conscious Lifestylist. We like to talk about relationships and living consciously. Go a little galactic sometimes. I answer some of your questions and we pull some cards. Better Now, Love Soul Circle, and you. Love you, Go Lightly Healing. So ask me a more specific question than should I leave my relationship and also should I do the career change? So how I like to do this is also keeping it kind of questions that support the whole group, right? Like everybody that's involved rather than like specifically, uniquely, how it might pertain to you individually, right? And what I will say that will apply to everybody based on that question, thank you, Corby. If you're ever hesitant about a relationship, then it usually means that either the connection, right, has been lost, which AKA means the values have shifted, right? So you're not feeling that same connection. I am a big believer that despite whatever happens in a relationship, connection can be reestablished. That is what I am a stand for, with the exception of emotional, physical, or verbal abuse. That being said, sometimes it's like, where's the communication happening, right? If there's something not working in a relationship, then has that been brought to a place where you guys can both communicate with each other on a neutral standpoint and both be heard, not just pointing the finger about you did this and I feel this way, or I need you to do that so that I can be happy, or whatever, right? Whatever conditions we're putting upon it potentially. So that being said, right, the whether you should or shouldn't leave a relationship, I will never tell anybody whether they should or shouldn't leave a relationship, unless, of course, there's abuse, like I said. So if you still love the person, if they want to make it work with you, awesome. If they don't want to make it work with you, then you also have to, honor that. Or if you're the one that doesn't want to make it work with them, then you have to honor that. But ask yourself why you don't want to make it work. Like, is it something that they're doing? Is it something that hasn't been communicated? Like, have you not been fully self-expressed in some area and communicated something that could otherwise give your partner the opportunity to shift with you? Like, sometimes we make up this stuff in our relationships about how we feel about something, and then we're just like, I'm out, right? And we never give if we don't communicate it, then we never give the other person the opportunity to say, oh, wow, like I didn't realize that was a thing for you, or here, like this is supposed to be a partnership and collaboration and like, right, working together kind of thing. So if something's coming up and you haven't given your partner an opportunity to clear the energy, then is it something that you're still rolling around like in your head, and granted in your heart, still feeling something, right? Because we don't want to discount that. But is it something that has the potential to be resolved? If not, and you're like, I'm out, not this one, thank you. And you have communicated and you have given your partner an opportunity to express or whatever, right? Cool. Then leave. Pretty simple, right? But we got to just check, like, where are we so quick to say yes or no, right? We want that one first and then that one. I'm going to do these a little bit like I did on the last one, right? So I'm going to pull 4. This is on the personal. If you guys are new, this is, I don't have the box. This is the Sacred Rebels deck. So what I want to do is like kind of do a resistance resolution theme, right? So those 4 that I'm going to pull, those are what we're collectively, this goes for everybody, in resistance to, right? And then I'm going to pull from a different deck the resolution. So those 4 will be the resistance, the conflict, if you will, right? the struggle, and then the other ones will be the resolution, the solution type of thing, right? I hope that helped, babe. Woman of the hour, you guys are so dope. You will be in a committed, exclusive relationship this year. Awesome. Awesome. Make it happen. I like it. Is that your new moon resolution? And what are you going to do to set more New Year's resolution, or New Year's, hello, new moon resolution, which is kind of like the new moon is kind of like a little like monthly New Year's, if we want to think about it, right? Energetically. All right. Hi, all you guys. I'm scrolling down. So I see everybody that just joined on, or you have a minute ago. Laura, hi, loves. Corby, thank you. You're the bomb. Okay, awesome. Dope. So, like I said, right? Like just when it comes to relationships, like, and granted, we got it. Okay. That all being said, I just want to say one last thing on this too, right? In Libra style, right? I'm always going to give the balance on both sides. If you've been in communication, if all of that's been happening and nothing's shifted, right? Then we have to give ourselves like a by when date, or a how many times we're going to, stay and see if something's going to continue working out, or how many more opportunities we're going to give to somebody, right? Because it's not to say that if you're, you are communicating and you're in that relationship and you're like, cool, let's make this a partnership and like see how things can continue working out and bring that connection back again. And maybe their patterns, they're not wanting to shift, right? Like partnership is two people working that the same, like they're on the same team. You know what I mean? So if that's all been happening and nothing's been resolved, right? Then you have to give yourself like that by when time, and not just kind of stay in a relationship, keep trying to make it work and making it work and making it work and making it work. Like there gets to be a point where you're like, I'm good, right? And not having guilt about that. You don't think I'm a psychic? I'm intuitive. I don't like the word psychic. I think that's, I don't do the whole, I'm going to tell you what your future is, because our future is constantly changing. And I'm a believer that we are making choices when we can consciously get out of our past programming. We can consciously direct the future that we want. That being said, there's many futures that are many different opportunities to be played out that have already happened, right? And it's which one you're in alignment to. So what I like to do is call myself more intuitive. And that means that like when I work with people, I like tapping into their energy fields, right? And really understanding where their subconscious mind is holding them in resistance to them being the next highest version of themselves in their life, in their relationships, and in their business. So I use a little bit of intuition to do that, and then I use my background and training in that. So, but I don't really like the word psychic, because I think it's it doesn't fit. Am I clairsentient and clairvoyant and clairaudient and all of those things? Yes, but I just don't like the word psychic. I don't know, personal preference. And I love other psychics, all of that stuff. Don't get me wrong. I just don't resonate with calling myself that, right? But do I see and hear and know and yes and all of that stuff, right? Dragon, we missed you last week. I think there was some new hashtag. What did we come up with? Oh, hashtag empath belly. Or I'm empath tummy. What did we come up with, guys? Let's see here. Okay. I love your guys' hearts. Okay. Interesting. I just want somebody who takes responsibility for who they are and where they are at. 22 is too young. Good point. That goes back to Corby, not to put you on blast, babe. There is something very interesting to be said. Okay, we want that one too. Thank you. I was like, I haven't even shuffled them yet. And we want that one too. These are going to be our resolution ones. And this, finish the sentence there, and then I'll get to which cards we're doing. So there is something to be said about like even 1 year later for something, right? Like think about how much you can shift in 1 year. Think about how you are now to who you were like 1 year ago, right? Like no matter what age you are, right? So it's like even 1 year you can shift in awarenesses. You can, there's different life experiences. There really is something to be said about that. So if, you know, it's not a judgment if somebody is too young, but yes, it could be that it's like, they're not looking at the world through the lens that you are. Are there very mature, younger people? Absolutely. Absolutely. And sometimes it can work. It absolutely can. And then sometimes it's like, okay, if it's too young, what I hear you saying is that their awareness might be too young, right? Because I've met some very aware younger people. And I bet even a lot of you on here, right? Even when you were young, you're like, oh, I was really like mature, you know, when you were younger, however old you are, right? Or young. You might have been really mature for your age. So it's a little bit of both. You can be really, really mature and have a lot of self-awareness or awareness about a lot of things. And then there's still a little bit of that, like, it's like life experience, but it's also like brain development. You know what I mean? Like even like shifting when, I remember even when I shifted into my 30s, like 29 to then 30, it was like all of a sudden like new doors unlocked in my brain. I was like, oh, now I get it. It's a really bizarre, right? You guys get that. So they're too young, they're just too young, right? Awesome. Okay, hang on. Let me see where you guys. Oh, the belly. I have learned a lot about just some biohacking tips and stuff I didn't know, right? One case in point this week, for those of you who are getting very, very stressed and bringing in, right? So you guys said, like, am I psychic? I do channel a lot of energy. So whatever you personally want to call that. And I think a lot. I'm visualizing and thinking a lot, whether I'm jumping into the future or working with clients. And so that can burn out a lot of stress energy, which apparently I found out burns the zinc in your system. And if you burn up the zinc in your system, then that causes your belly to have lower stomach acidity. I didn't know this. This is all learning this week for me, right? And I've always had these like weird, right, empath belly. So what I believe is, I believe I have low stomach acidity. So now I got to chew on a lemon before I eat anything. But it makes it feel so much better. So just saying, watch your zinc. You might be low in zinc. Anybody who's having a little bit of that empath belly stuff going on, depending on the feeling of what it is, right? And I'm not the practitioner, right? I work with the subconscious mind, and I work with your emotions, and I work with spirit and all of that alignment. Okay. Body, not my forte. That's why I have a personal trainer and a nutritionalist now. So definitely check a professional practitioner for any additional questions. Do not go on what I say. This is what I learned for my body this week. Interesting. And you were mentioning anxiety, which you wrote another comment that's there, so I will read it. But it can lead to anxiety as well, right? So everything, all like our stress, our emotions, our mental well-being, like all of these things that we're experiencing and dealing with, like all of that starts in the gut, right? Like this is our other brain too. But this is like even intuition, right? When we're like saying trust our gut. Like if there's stuff going on, then like it can make confusion happen and things maybe come through not as clearly, right? So good gut health is the name of this week, okay? The name of your life, right? That should be for your whole life, okay? Because yes, anxiety, sadness, emotional stuff, depression, all of that stuff. Did you guys know that the serotonin found in your brain is directly related to the serotonin found in your gut? I didn't learn that this week. I learned that before. But so, and you guys know what serotonin is, right? Like happiness chemical in your brain. I love all your hearts. Okay, so Like if the serotonin's like not happening down here, guess what? It's not going to be happening. Not happening up here. AKA more depression or depression-like symptoms, right? If I have ever been depressed in my life, I swear to God, I have depression denial because I'm just like, I don't believe in it. I just don't. I'm a sort of like mind over matter, emotion over mind kind of person, spirit over emotion kind of person, right? I believe basically that we can get ourselves out of anything. We do have to choose. And that's sometimes the hardest part, right? Because then our human side kicks in and it's like, we don't want to. It's so much easier to just sit here and complain. So much easier to just like stink up the room with your bad mood and not get out of it. Oh my God. Okay, this is going to be really bad. This is going to be really bad, but I'm going to say it anyway. And my mama's going to laugh if mommy is on because she said it. This is not me, but my mama said it. We were laughing our asses off, right? If you think about it this way, if you think about every negative thing that you ever say out your mouth, right? Like negative belief, negative thought, and whenever you're in a bad mood, or even if you're in a good mood, and then in creeps that like negative thing that just has to like ruin your good mood, right? Because it's like subconsciously, like we can't be happy all the time. We don't trust ourselves to do that. Subconscious programming, right? You can imagine any negative anything that comes out your mouth, if it is coming out your mouth, if you verbalize it and you drop that out your mouth, that is literally like farting out your mouth. There, I said it. I said it. It was bad, but we were cracking up laughing. And literally, it's like that's what limiting and negative beliefs are. Every single time you say something negative, it's literally like, think about it like you just farted out your mouth. And so you absolutely should say, excuse me, I'm so sorry. And like sage or something, some Palo Santo, that shit. So check your negative beliefs next time. And remember I said that. And then ask yourself whether you want to keep verbalizing whatever's coming out your mouth. I don't know why I'm getting a little rosy on that today. It's just like, just check yourself before, you know what happens. Be dropping some gas out your mouth with those limiting beliefs. Excuse me. Excuse me. It's bad. I don't know why. We try to keep it clean here on Soul Circle, but hashtag no filter. So that's that. Okay, we'll pull this one for shits and giggles. Oh, hello. Come on, Sarah, get with it. All right, we are doing resistance. We got 4 cards on resistance that are coming from the Sacred Rebels deck. You guys, I haven't had coffee today, okay? I've only had coconut water. And then, so that's your resistance. And then we're going to do resolution to that resistance. We're going to do from the Enchanted Map. Okay, the reason why I picked Enchanted Map, it's a new one. I don't think I've done that before. The reason why you guys are all laughing at air fresh. Hi, David. Oh, hi, honey. Yeah, we seriously need some like limiting belief air freshener, right? Or you guys remember, what was that Poopery that came out? We need that for like our limiting beliefs. Not the ones that stay in your head. No, you can shift those a different way. The ones that actually come out your mouth. Okay? Because otherwise, it's just gas in your belly. Oh, God. Okay, stop, Sarah. Stop. Okay, so we're doing Enchanted Map. Why? Because if we're not looking towards the future, if we don't set ourselves up for a future vision of where we want to go, then we will stay stuck in either the past or hence stuck in the present, right? Because we keep bringing our past into our present. So we're going to do Enchanted Map as far as the resolution to the resistance. And then I'm going to pull one, it's a little bonus card. Keeping it Goddess over here, okay? I haven't brought this out in so long. This was like, I think this was one of my This was not my first deck. No. This was my first deck I bought in Sedona when I decided to move there after my whole near-death experience and all that fun stuff, and take a little hiatus from the entertainment industry. And I found the Goddess Guidance Oracle deck. No, what was my first Oracle deck? I believe it was like the Mermaid deck, I think. Because I've done a past life as a mermaid, and then I played a mermaid in a film in this life too. So that was like a whole past life experience. So that was my first Oracle deck. It was the who did the mermaid deck? I don't remember. I don't have it anymore. Keeping it Goddess. Hashtag keeping it Goddess. Oh my God. Dragon, I really hope, like, can you be the key holder of all of the Soul Circle hashtags? Like, can you write them down for us? Because I don't know if I even remember all of them. But you're always on point with, like, hashtag all the ones that we come up with. Like, I don't know. I don't know if I can remember them. Did you guys put in, what was the one from last week? Was it hashtag empath? Was it belly or tummy? I don't remember. But hashtag keeping it Goddess. I like it. My personal favorite one is hashtag keeping it real. And hello, hashtag stop, drop, love. Stop, drop, love. They're all my favorite. Okay. Anyways. All right. Do we even have any more questions? Yes, please, Dragon, we can write them down. Oh my God. Yes, you remember those. I'm sure it's in the recordings anyways. Okay, hang on. Let me scroll back and see you guys. Same amount for what? I love how you guys are laughing at. I know we did it. We did dirty jokes today. It was a little dirty. A little dirty. We got a little sticky. But hello, are your limiting beliefs not a little sticky? Right? Talk about dirty. Talk about like cut it out. What is that old school? Do you guys remember the cut? How'd it go? Cut it out. Wow. I don't know. I've been in a hole all week, so apparently I went way far back to taking out some cut it out. What was that, like early 90s? Oracle of the Mermaids by Lucy Cabinet. No, I don't think it was that one. Maybe it was that one. I don't remember. Okay. Hashtag keeping it real. Full house, what? Let's see. What do you, hi, Duchess, Jacqueline, lovely, lovely. Are you still with that beautiful man that you met in Hawaii, darling? Let's see. What is the best way to shift intentions? What's our time? Okay. I'll get to cards a little sooner this week because I felt like the last, I keep forgetting. What is the best way to shift intentions? Like you were working on manifesting your life one way and now you're shifting priorities. Okay. Can you give me a little bit more than that, babe, on like just what's the best way to shift your intentions? Like what exactly do you mean by that? Like I sort of already kind of feel like if you're saying you were working on manifesting your life in one way and now you're shifting priorities, like you've already shifted your intentions. So what exactly do you mean by like, what's the best way to shift intentions? If you're shifting, the energy is pulling you in a different direction, like wouldn't your intentions kind of already be shifted, or you wanted to do it in like more of a conscious way? I just want a little bit more of a just clarification to that question, right? Like if you're shifting priorities, like, okay, let me say it this way. Everything comes down to what you visualize for your future. If you are not in a space of creating a vision for the future that you want to have, and then if you can back it up with how you want to emotionally feel to intensify that vision, right? Because the vision is just the vision, right? How you want to feel in that vision is like, that's the juice. right? That's the solid, that's the foundation. But either way, if you don't have that vision on where you're wanting to go or what you're wanting to create, and then the emotions that you want to be able to experience when you're there, once you get there, like it's you're gonna be like misdirected or feeling like, should I go over here? Should I go over there? Right? So sitting down and really just getting super clear on like, okay, what is that vision? What is that? Jump into the future for a minute. You guys who have been here on for a minute, like you've heard me say, jump into the future and go see what you want to create, and especially what you want to feel. Don't stay there, because that's where we get stuck. We like to stay there because it feels so good in that fantasy, and we forget that we're in a reality, and then whoever the people that we have in the reality, and we didn't give them the memo of where we're wanting to be in the future, and then they don't come along and they're like, how are you acting like you want us to be in the future, but we're not, because we're still here in the present. Right? So don't get stuck there. But definitely go there. Like go to your future vision on like a vacay, have a good time, see what you want, experience how you want to feel, and then come back home and be like, cool, what are those steps that I need to now get there? Right? Yes, babe, shifting. So this is answered yes to hearts on that. Shifting more consciously. Girl, why are we not doing another session then? Where you've been visualizing new intentions. Okay, great. But it's so different from what you've been creating recently, meaning your future visualizations are different than what you've been creating visually or recently. Then I would say you are in your, and this goes for everybody too, right? So whenever you're wanting to create something, and this will lend to almost like there's a, I'm going to use the word resistance here lightly, right? Because if you're saying, oh, I want this, or I've been doing it this way, and now I want this, right? That could be towards your relationships. That could be towards your purpose. That could be towards whatever. And if they're two totally different visions or what you're trying to go towards, then it's a fragmentation. They have the same purpose, but they need to be integrated, right? So that's something that I would discover with you, babe, and honestly, a deeper session on just finding out, one, what their same intentions are. And like, if you're not clear, then you either haven't integrated those two fragments of their parts of you, right? There's like a part of you that wants to do this, but then like a part of you that wants to do that. And this other part of you doesn't want to let go of all the visions and the creations that you wanted to be able to do over here. And yet you want to be able to move over here in the future and create all of these cool things over here in the future. Anybody else relating to this? So it's like, you're in a little bit of lack mentality because you don't want to let go of what you thought you were going to create in the old version of you, and yet you haven't fully stepped into the future one, and you have all these cool ideas and visions and want tos in the future one, right? So they need, again, to be integrated. So how to do that consciously is integration. I love you, girl. I know you're keeping it generic to make it general for Soul Circle. I appreciate you. And yes, right. So that just that applies to everybody, no matter what you're doing, right? So yes, it makes sense. Cool. Did that make sense to everybody else too? Because it's like, no matter, it's like whenever you have something that you really want. Let's use the example of people, because why not? Let's say you have one person that you're like, oh, I really like them because they have all of these cool qualities, right? And then there's somebody else that you're like, oh, but I really like them because they have all of these other different cool qualities, right? Or maybe it has to do with like your purpose in your life. And you're like, I want to do this over here, and I would be able to do this and do this and do this, and that would be really fun. Or I want to be able to do this, and I would be able to do this, this, and this with that part of your purpose, right? I'm going super general. So you guys are keeping up. Either way, if you, when it comes to people, unless you want to be polyamorous, you can only have one, right? So get really in touch with your value system. Like, do you want to be polyamorous? Do you want to have multiple people, or would you only like one? And if you want one, then choose the third one, because whoever that first one is and that second one, right? You can either maybe be friends with one and maybe you're partners with the other one. Like, don't go for can't say don't go just for chemistry, because it's like chemistry could be super amazing, but maybe you wouldn't be able to make a life out of that with that person or whatever, right? And there's always, remember, they're the external projection of you, right? So they're projections of an integration that hasn't happened within. So if you're like, oh, I like this in this person and I like that in that person, they're the external reflection of the integration that needs to happen within you. Okay, that's when it comes to people. When it comes to purpose and ideas, think of it in the sense of, yes, it still needs to be integrated because they have the same common purpose. Otherwise, they wouldn't be coming up in your ideas, right? So anything that comes up for you that's an idea that has to do with, like, you know, work or purpose or business or whatever, it wouldn't be coming up. You wouldn't be thinking about it unless there was some way to fit it into what you're already doing. Finding the integration of it is a very different thing, right? That's where the fun and the play can be, right? But not everything. Let me put it this way. Sometimes we get two ideas, and then we think that both of those ideas are supposed to be the top thing that we're trying to find a solution for, versus maybe one of the ideas is for something major, and then the other idea still applies, but it applies somewhere else, right? I'm getting super general, so this is making sense. Okay, cool. Also, because whenever I jump on here, like I'm tapping into you guys, so I'm speaking to like a couple different people's energies right now. Okay, Julian is like, I'm not understanding. Think about how it relates. The third one, meaning when I said choose the third one when it came to a person. So I was using that as kind of like a what's that Johnny Depp quote where he was like, if you fall in love with two people, choose the second one, because if you fell in love with the second one, or if the first one was everything, then you wouldn't have fallen in love with the second one, right? So I'm saying if you have two people that you're like interested in, then go for the third one, because after like the two people that you like are an external projection of what needs to be integrated within, and once you integrate it, you'll find the third one that already has both of those qualities integrated, right? Thank you, Jacqueline. You rock too, baby. Mwah. Okay, let's do resistance resolution. And maybe Jacqueline, some other things will come up. Okay, so I'm going to flip over all of these. So, you know, right now that is like the overall that you're in most resistance to right now, right? Or the, love that, good. Okay, cool. What if one has been married for a while and then find out that you're bi, like as in bisexual? We're going to get to cards because that is a longer conversation, but I love you. And you gotta trust that. You honestly, like, you know, and whether it's you or asking for a friend or whatever, like you gotta trust. Sometimes, like, did you really find out that you're bi, or was it something that maybe you weren't letting be fully expressed, or you weren't communicating fully, and so now it's like, oh, it's just coming out, right? I don't think anybody just discovers that they're gay, right? Or bi, right? Maybe they do. I don't know. I am not bi. So I've kissed a girl a couple times, but I'm not bisexual. Okay. I feel like relating applies, right? Whether you're gay, straight, bi, like relationships are relationships. How you're relating, how you're communicating, and how you're showing up as the most authentic you applies across the board. So I don't want to speak on the specifics of being bisexual because I am not, and I don't feel congruent with really speaking on the voice of something that I'm not. I don't feel like that's correct. And yet I can say in all relating, like, be expressive, like be communicating who you are authentically, and having, you know, sometimes we suppress certain parts of ourselves because we don't know how that person is going to accept us, whether that's our sexuality or just being our weird, goofy, authentic self, right? So no matter what it is, I think that applies the same across all relationships. Okay. That being said, the resistance, right? So meaning the conflict, what you haven't been working on, right? The like, what's been going wrong. Restore and replenish has been a challenge. Maybe not for me this week. I've definitely been restoring and replenishing, but that has been, so seeing if this resonates for you guys, right? Restoring and replenishing, maybe you've been running too fast. Maybe you've been focusing too much on your mind. You've been like going and, you know, trying to think about like what you should be doing and pushing yourself harder than you should be, right? And that your body is now actually craving that rest and restore, right? So this is the resistance. This is what you've been resisting. So you haven't been resting. You haven't been giving your body or your spirit, or maybe you haven't been meditating. You haven't been taking time for yourself right now. Awesome. That's so you right now. Cool. And you pulled that card last night, Jacqueline. Okay, dope. So this is the reminder, right? And so we'll do what the solution for that is, right? The resolution. I love this. Look at how cute that is. Look at the little love from the, oh, they're so cute. Look at them. Little giraffes. It's so beautiful. Okay. I just turned into a 5-year-old. It says encouragement. So in order to shift from, right, that the restore and replenish, if you haven't been restoring and replenishing yourself, like you need to encourage yourself more. So if you've been going in the mind, whatever has been taking you away from rest and restore, your resolution for that is encouragement. So either that's self-encouragement and you really need to like give yourself a pep talk. Like if, like I know it's so awesome when it can come from other people, right? Or maybe you can call a friend and be like, I feel like shit right now. Can somebody please give me a pep talk? Like, can you just like take me out for ice cream and like listen to me vent and then just like help get me out of that mood, right? Or give me a little bit of encouragement, right? So if you have a friend to call, awesome. Parents are really great for that too. Siblings are really great for that. I would not always rely on your romantic partner for that, right? But you can still ask, right? And most importantly, giving it to yourself first, because what goes on here is more important than what anybody else outside of you is going to say. Anybody outside of you can give you all the encouraging words in the world, but what you've got between your 2 ears is most important. So really is reestablishing for this rest and restoring, reestablishing like your own self-encouragement, like saying nice things to yourself, being good to you, right? Being a good friend to you. Like, have you been an asshole to yourself in your own head? Kind of like either constantly picking on yourself, right? Okay. Is that resonating, you guys? Perfect word. Okay, cool. Oh, interesting. So, next resistance. I'm curious why you say not to rely on a romantic partner for it. I'm not saying don't ask your romantic partner, right, for that, but sometimes we have a tendency to expect that our romantic partners in life are going to be like our everything, right? And sometimes if it's just like, if you just need a little bit of like a pick-me-up or a pep talk or whatever, right? One, you doing that for you is most important and not relying on those external, like a partner to do that, right? It's kind of like the principle of like, don't rely on them for your happiness. And at the same time, like seek out friends, seek out like where that energy can come from another supportive source. In a romantic partnership, sometimes it puts a different, heavier energy on it, right? Okay. Yes, it's true. And that's what you're working on it. Okay, cool. Okay, so yeah, on the second resistance card, love your guys' hearts. Okay. Shock of the new. Like this. So and this goes perfectly with the fact that we're in a new moon energy right now. So new things are coming in. New opportunities are coming in. New adventures, new whatever. And that could be on a good thing and that could be potentially on a bad thing. And If it's shock, like it's shock of the new, so it's almost like, oh God, like that can put you almost in fight or flight, right? So you're in resistance to the things that are new that are coming in, right? So it's like a shock of whatever's happening. It could be a breakup. It could be a potential breakup. It could be, right? That's just on the negative side, but how we're perceiving it, right? If you're in resistance to something, you're perceiving it as a negative. And yet anything new that's energy coming in, that's the energy that we're in right now. So we have to remember, like, is there a resistance to change? Is there a resistance to shifting? That we can always remember that shifting is for the better, right? So whatever that shock of the new, there's some newness that's happening that you're in resistance to. Could be on a personal side, could be on a job side, I don't know. But there's something that's happening that you're just like, oh my God. It's like a lot of new and I don't know what to do. And it's shocking, okay? So your resolution for that, interesting. Okay, hang on a second, what do I want to say about this one? So shock of the new, we got ghost lands. It's all very icy. I don't know if you guys can see that very well. There's time, but it's very icy. And so it's very cold and it's isolated. But this is your resolution. This is how to shift out of the shock of the new, right? So even though it's saying ghost lands, like I'm not taking that as a negative. I'm taking that as like maybe you need a little bit of time to isolate yourself, to kind of like cocoon within. And when you can cocoon within, you can listen to what it is that you truly want, not whatever like the chaos that's happening and whatever the fear that's happening, because you're going into fight or flight with all this shock of the new, right? You have like tiger chasing you or bullets in a gun and you're just like, oh God, what's going to happen? So isolate yourself, give yourself a little bit of time. Right? Doesn't mean you have to go be in the frigid cold, even though that's like in this image, right? But like Ghostland is like, go be away from people. Take that time, like isolate yourself. Go in, like as if you were in your own ghost town, right? Really. Oh, and isolate what? I don't know. Oh, isolate. That's funny. I didn't think about that. Nice. I love how you guys hear things. Okay, so take some time by yourself so that you can really identify with how you're feeling, how you're thinking about whatever this newness is that you're supposedly in shock. And once you can get into like what you're really feeling about it, then you'll know how to move forward, right? So like I said, whatever's happening that's new, that you're like in fight or flight of and you're in resistance to, take some time away, go within. Sometimes it's easier, right, to like distract ourselves, like watch TV or, you know, go hang out with friends or just go be out and about, because we don't want to listen to the voices in our head, because the voices in our head are actually speaking truth. Unless, of course, they're speaking a lot of like limiting beliefs, in which case you might want to hear those too. Those are really important to hear so that you can then heal them, right? So whatever is happening, whatever that shock is, whatever you're telling yourself, whatever you're making it mean about whatever newness is happening, go isolate yourself so you can hear what you're really saying, what you're really making it mean about that situation. Heal whatever needs to be healed, and then you'll know how to move forward. Okay. So resistance again. The word wants to be written. Yes, okay. So you're in resistance to like getting yourself out there more. You're in resistance to, like, even though it's written, right? Word wants to be written. It's like, where you, two things. One, where like you're in resistance to taking the time and maybe actually tangibly writing manifestations, writing positive mantras, writing, writing a book, right? So you could take it as a literal form, and you could take it as a figurative form where, like, where are you, you're in resistance to showing up in the world. You're in resistance to showing up in your relationships. You're like, what are you in resistance to actually like bringing forth? Like whatever, when you write something down, it's like solidified, it's tangible, right? So where are you in resistance to making plans, right? Creating that vision and then like putting it on your calendar, right? Actually like solidifying what you say that you want to be able to do and then commit to it. So you're in some sort of resistance to your commitments. That's the main thing that I get from this, okay? So if you're in resistance to your commitments, or tangibly writing, the resolution for that, this is very funny. If my mama's listening, she's gonna laugh so hard. Okay, so resistance to either tangibly writing or your commitments. You guys know what a talisman is, right? It's like a symbol of, it's like 3 books. Power of Love, this makes so much sense. Okay, cool. You guys know what a talisman is, right? It's like a symbol that means so much to you, right? And my mom and I were literally, I don't know if you guys can see that, but she's literally got a dragon on her shoulder. And literally earlier today, I was talking with my mom and we were talking about dragons. Hi, dragon. Shout out to you, hon. So whatever your talisman is, right? And I love that she's, again, I don't know if you guys can see that, she's standing on the yin and the yang. So she's standing on balance, right? So getting into your solution is getting in touch with a symbol. Well, one, like a symbol represents something that means a lot to you. So that could be a tangible talisman, a tangible symbol, or some element that means a lot to you. Maybe it's doing something that you always like to do that means a lot to you that you haven't been doing in a long time. Something that's going to help keep that balance, right? Or something that's going to like get you back in touch with your commitments and get you back in touch with that inspiration for your commitments, right? So think of a talisman as either something tangible that you can have around you that's an anchor that reminds you of activating that emotion, right? Talismans are like, they remind our subconscious, whether we're fully even remembering the full meaning of them, but they remind us ultimately of whatever that was that inspired you about that talisman, right? So what we're being asked is whatever you're in resistance to, commitment, or what it is that you're wanting to do, get back in touch with the thing that inspires you, that gets you back in touch with that energy so then you can move back into the energy of the commitments, right? So find whatever that is. It could be a tangible talisman, or it could be an action or a behavior. It could be maybe somewhere that you go, right? Let's try to burp. Okay, you guys are fine. Interesting. Okay, final resistance after the storm. Resonates so much. Yes. It's great. Oh, thanks, David. You posted a picture of this girl and a dragon on her shoulder yesterday. Interesting. Awesome. Okay, cool. So after the storm, you know how sometimes we get into resistance of moving forward with things because we don't want to go through the challenges or the perceived challenges or the work, the things that we feel like we have to do, or the perception that there might be drama or a storm or some sort of intensity that we know that we might have to go through, and we can't get to the other side without going through that, right? Because that's almost our integrity. And so you're in resistance, right? It's always darkest before the dawn, yes, but you're in resistance this is after the storm, right? So where are you in resistance in like moving forward? You're in some sort of resistance of moving forward. Some sort of like maybe either the storm is just upon you and you're about to get through it, or maybe you've already come through the storm and you're like, okay, now what? And you don't want to move forward, or you're in that space of like in just resistance of thinking that you're either still in the storm or that there's going to be a storm and there's going to be some sort of like a drama or chaos or whatever, and you're in resistance of that, right? So whatever that resistance is for you and whatever's coming up for you guys right now too, because each one of you have like a different sense of what this is. And so I want you to remember to trust that too. So despite even what I'm saying, if you have a feeling coming through for you of what this card means, then remember to tap into that. Cool? So whatever that is, your resistance to after the storm, moving through, moving on after. Sometimes, even though we've moved through something, we don't know what to do afterwards. Sometimes we get so addicted to the drama of things, right? Of situations, of relationships, of being emotional. We get addicted to these like dramatic situations. And then when it's like over, then it's like, well, now what? Like, what do I do now? Right? It's almost like a bored feeling. Gonna clear the shit out of that resistance tomorrow. Awesome. Okay, cool. So whatever that resistance is, here is your resolution. Okay. Oh, it's getting hot in here too. Oh my God, I love this chick. I've never gotten this card before. One ring circus. This is hilarious right now, okay? And like, can you check her? Can you guys see her? Look at the little badass goddess sitting up there. She's like got this like little sideways top hat on. I don't know if you guys can see that as you do. Okay, and she's like on an elephant on a rock in the middle of the ocean. Wait, where to go? Here's your solution, guys. Just kidding. Okay. This tells me two things. This tells me, one, get back to you, right? One ring circus. It doesn't mean be alone. It doesn't mean that if whatever happened, whatever chaos, drama, whatever, right? Maybe that was a breakup. Maybe that was whatever. It doesn't mean that then you have to go be alone forever. Alone time is good to like get back into the flow of things, right? One ring circus means get back in touch with your oneness. Not all the things that are happening, not whatever drama, not whatever chaos, not whatever storm. Like, get back to you for a minute. What do you need to do for you? Not what you need, not what you think you're obligated to do for everybody else, not what you think that you need to be there for whom or what or whatever. What do you need to do? You're paying too much attention on all the external things that were happening and drama and whatever, and you're not getting back to you. And I love that it's like circus. That's like, get back to the thing, get back to you, the things that make you feel fun and playful and circus-like. Like, you go to a circus and it's like, there's cool, weird shit to see. There's like kettle corn. There's like all this weird sugary crap. there's tigers. And there's shows, and there's dancers, and everybody's having a good time. It's entertainment, right? So like, where have you lost your own individual entertainment with yourself? Where have you lost your fun? Where have you lost your play? Like, your funny bone is a little bit on the dull side, and somebody needs to hit it. You need to go hit it. So it means getting back to yourself, but most importantly, like, getting back in touch with your fun, whatever that is. We're so losing like all this like relationships are drama, relationships are work, like, oh, my job is this and my job is that and everything, and we're complaining about all of it. And it's like, go do what you need to do for you that is fun and inspiring, and release all of that blah energy, right? The after the storm, right? Okay. Just have fun, delight in yourself. Yes, okay, and it's counting down, and our bonus card for the evening, fun, entertaining, play more. Yes, exactly. That's so awesome. Okay, cool. Lots of play. It's not fucking taking ourselves so seriously. Like, let's be real, okay? This sums up pretty much everything I just said. Quiet time. Quiet time. It literally says, take some quiet time alone to rest, meditate, and contemplate. So this is the bonus card that just kind of like sums up all of it. So it means we haven't been doing that enough. You haven't been doing that enough for you. You you haven't been giving yourself enough of this, then how are you going to have enough energy to go and play? You're going to be thinking about all the things that you think that you need to be doing and blah, blah, blah. And like, nobody's having any fun. The fun has died. It needs a revival. So go have a little bit of quiet time. Get back in touch with your funny bone. Meditate, feel good, go juicy, put on some music, do whatever you gotta do. I love you guys so much. I hope that resonated with you. We're doing this a little bit differently. I love you all. This is Soul Circle. We do this every Tuesday. Share this video if you really liked it, or if you feel like this week a friend needs to hear it. Mwah! See you guys next week. Bye, love. Bye on YouTube.